Hello.
Oh,
I see it looks like we have a few people in the room already. Your mom and Tina and Carrie from Built on the Rock Homestead. And my computer's being very loud. And Lisa. Hello, hello. Fan just turned on my computer, and that sounds really loud.
your fan doesn't usually ever come on that I'm aware of.
That's really weird. Oh well, it's the I guess have to have something funny going on during a live show. But yeah, so if we can just get verification that you guys can hear us, that would be great. And Kara, yes, Judy is now on Bella's bed.
She came home, what, Monday morning? I think?
Yeah, got here fast.
2 in the morning. I thought she was going to come back with you guys. I didn't
Yeah.
know she was taking a separate trip.
Hi, Noah's Ark. Yeah, so Bella's definitely happy because she loves Judy. And White Picket Fence is here too. Hello, hello. So we're going to run through cute pictures for Grandma Time here first. And Sharon, hello. So, and then we'll get to our normal things. And we'll get some previews for some videos that we have coming up that I'm working on. Little preview pictures instead of the videos. But it's basically projects we have going on around here anyway. And I'm just now getting the sound is good verifications coming through, so that's good to know. First up are some pictures to P's grandma and grandpa if he's there watching, but some Bella cute pictures. Bella bathtub. This was not when I was giving her a bath. This was when the sitter was.
Thursday, was it?
Yeah. The sitter was giving her a bath.
I happened to walk by and she had her hair up like that.
Kind of mohawky, kind of spike.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm sure she would love Bella bath time pictures down the road, but we did at least it's just her face.
Well, it's not an embarrassing picture.
No, it's not an embarrassing picture. And Bella in a box, because boxes are the best toys. And just after our live shows last time, we had some really cold weather and deep snow. So this is actually Bella sitting on the snowbank from the plowing. So have a bunch of snow pictures on our Instagram.
Snow is almost totally gone. I think we got dumped in just about a month or less.
Yeah.
And it's almost all melted because it's gotten warm, really warm for a moment.
I mean, we got little bits of snow here or there, and then we got dumped on for like a week, maybe 2. Yeah, and then little bits here or there. About when Texas lost all their power. Carrie, how are you doing with that one? I hope you're back.
She must have some power if she's on the internet, unless it's her phone.
Unless she's at her friends again.
True.
So, yeah. We didn't lose power. Sorry, Bella is under here if you see feet. Feet flying by here. She's hanging out. We didn't lose power, but we definitely had some deep snow. So this is kind of in our backyard area.
We had 20, maybe it's like 20 to 24 inches in total.
Yeah.
At one point.
Yeah.
Somewhere like 18 to 20, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty deep. It was almost knee deep in some places in the yard and such.
We're supposed to hit around 60 on Tuesday.
Yes, so it's going to be...
I think we hit about 50 today, but it started out in like 25, started at 20 yesterday.
Yes. So, yeah, and here's an early morning snow picture from a couple weeks ago. And the temperatures dropped like crazy too. We were down negative digits in the morning. Definitely cold times, but it didn't last very long, so at least we had that.
I think the state is repairing just about every section of the guardrail between here and Kalamazoo. There are so many cars blew out guardrails over the last few weeks.
Too many cars off the road. People forgot how to drive in the cars, and that's my hair.
They also forgot how to salt the roads some days.
Yeah, they didn't seem to want to get right to it, which they have the funds to in the state at least to do that and the equipment. So, but then it all of a sudden kind of turned into spring. We have eggs again.
Started about a week ago. Started getting 6+ a day after getting one
or
two for weeks and weeks and buying eggs.
Only
lost power for 6 days.
Yeah, that's a long time though.
Yeah, I heard some people are heading on to 3 weeks right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Folks east of her lost it for a few weeks. Yep. And running water, but flooded under the house last week. Oh no. Where that leak is. Fun. No, that's not a good thing. Flooding, we've had pipe issues before when we lived in New York, and that is not fun to have to fix and figure out.
We've had some sump pumps either fail or back up here.
Yeah.
Because we get a little bit of high groundwater, but it's generally just been the sump pumps. We've been good for the last year and a half. So.
Yeah. So, no, we had some really high water tables for a couple years. Hi, ASL. How are you doing? One of our sneak peeks into videos to come is actually about what's going on with the greenhouse. So I'll show you a couple pictures, and then we'll have some more details on videos to come. But this was already starting to melt the snow here. I think we were probably in the 40s or maybe just 30s when I took this picture. Let me find.
Yeah, it was near the... Yeah, that was definitely after we'd had most of the snow.
Yeah, that was after we had most of the snow, and it warmed up a little bit outside. We're in the 50s and lower 60s. So this was probably about a week ago. So it was just starting to get above freezing outside, but inside the greenhouse it was 50s. And the soil temperature warmed up to just over 40 in my raised bed in the greenhouse. So guess what? We have some things that are growing in our greenhouse in early March in Michigan. So this, I believe, is bok choy that sprouted, but we also have, at this point, we have bok choy, kale, and kohlrabi that's sprouting, and we have a bunch of onions, and there's another green I have out there, I think it's endives, that are supposed to start up. Some leeks and stuff like that. So hopefully we get some cold weather.
It needs to be blanched, otherwise you just get a chicory.
Okay, we could get chicory then, whichever way we decide to go with that. But, oh, getting my hair pulled again, sorry. Yeah, so busy fixing pipes down there. I can't believe it. Yeah, fallen trees. Yeah, the trees don't really like all the ice and wind.
Well, especially when you're not used to getting it. Yeah. We get our trees clipped every couple times a year by the icing and different things and helping tear down branches, so it's not as severe as when you don't have it. When we get a really bad ice storm before the leaves have fallen is when it really tears down a lot of trees with the leaves iced up, and then you see a lot of cleanup.
Say hi. You gonna say hi? Say hi, people. Sit on the lap, and we're not quite tall enough. Your mint is starting to grow. I haven't even looked at my mint. I bet it always comes back around here, but it has no problem in our winters. Well, yeah, but we also have another spring thing happening right now, and that is the maple sap is starting to run. So actually could have gotten these bags on the trees a week earlier, but we got them on last week, and we're now trying to boil down how much sap?
About 18 gallons.
18 gallons.
Pretty ineffective day of boiling it.
Yeah, it was
last time we boiled 5 or 6 gallon pots on the electric stove upstairs, which wasn't ideal. One, it put off a lot of humidity, and 2, it uses the electric, and 3, the pots are a little bit big for the stove we had. We have a different stove now; it's a little bit better, but so. This year we have an old stove, an old potbelly stove, or burner stove that was given to us that had come out of service from a barn stove. So I hauled that into the yard, and we got that going this morning. I've never used it before. It was quite hard to get it to. It lit up right away, but to get it to have a good draw and get hot enough, it doesn't have a stack on it right now. It just has a little lip because it'd come off of a. Being on a stack, so that probably would.
It came out of a barn.
Yeah, probably doesn't make it any better, but We've run a lot of wood, and we finally got it hot enough where it was drawing and pulling hard. But because we have a 20-gallon pot on it, it took a long time to heat up. And then right now it's been simmering. We've lost a gallon or two out of it, but it's, I don't know, probably 140 degrees or something. It's not even boiling because it's blowing heat out all over the place, but not putting it into that big of a mass. Probably should have put some of my smaller pots on it.
Probably, yeah.
So now I got to figure out what to do. I was supposed to use the pot Friday and then have it available for today, but and then I have containers coming in for another project, for a work project, and the containers are 2 weeks held up in the mail, it appears. I don't know why Amazon sent them in the mail. So yeah, so
certain trees.
So yeah, so we're trying. I got to figure out what to do with it. I still got it on the heat right now, but I can't run it all day tomorrow and watch it and keep feeding wood in it because I got work to do. So I may go buy some propane and try and blow it out with. But every time it cools down at night, I got to start over. Yeah, most maple trees, in fact, many trees, you can pull sap on them. There are quite a few different type of maple trees, you know, red maples and silver maples and sugar maples. And you can look at their leaf patterns and colors and carefully try and figure out what they are. They all give a pretty good amount of sap. However, some of them give more and some may have a little bit more sugar. I think a sugar maple is probably known as that because it gives off some of the better amounts. You can also pull it off of little bits off of walnut or birch. I think yellow birch, specifically, not the white birch. There's a handful of things that you can pull sap, but most of those don't yield nearly as much as maple. So yeah, we've got 1 or 2 taps. Some of our trees, none of them are that old. Some of them have 2 taps on them that are on the bigger side.
Yeah.
But none of them are huge, historic. Right down the road from us, there are some monster oaks, and they have like 6 taps on them. They're
Oaks?
so big. I mean,
Maples.
Maples.
You don't tap oaks.
No.
They're quite
They'd be
tannic.
pretty tannic.
And I don't know how much sap they have running.
Yeah, and that's part of it is to get, to have a sugar content, have the sap run, have it be sweet and not tannic. So there are some options. Sap
From mulberry.
That's interesting.
Huh.
We've got one crappy mulberry in front.
We have tiny ones. We don't have.
But they're
big
tiny,
ones.
and I'd like them to go away. So
He is not a fan of mulberry fruit or anything.
it's just too sticky and messy and not. Yeah, there's so many tastier things for me.
Yeah. There's some people who just love mulberries.
They're full of seeds, and I don't know. Yeah, we tried tapping one of our medium-sized black walnuts.
That was funny.
It yielded a little bit, but mostly the goose disturbed it. That was 3 years ago. So
it's right outside the chicken run, and Gus the goose kept pulling the bag off the tree.
He would pick at it all day long.
Yeah, so that didn't work very well. It might have given us something, but we have no clue.
So we never did. I have had birch syrup. Mm-hmm. There's a chef that I know that did a demonstration years ago that I happened to be at, and he had brought in some homemade birch syrup. It wasn't quite as mapley as maple syrup, but it was sweet and not too dissimilar.
Mm-hmm. So that's cool. So we're having that project going on. We're going away for a weekend, basically, a long weekend. We're probably going to leave the taps on the trees and see how much we have when we get back.
Yeah, you can't tap the cedars or the oaks. So.
No.
You're probably way too hot. For maple likes moderate to cool weather, not the coldest, but yeah, it definitely likes good.
And the tapping is perfect when you're just starting to get above freezing temperatures. And you get that freezing temperature at night and then just above freezing during the day, and that back and forth helps draw the sap up. But you have to get it before it goes and buds.
Linda is here.
Hello, Linda. So we have that.
There's a company that was in New York. They were doing urban maple tapping. You would allow them to tap your tree in your city lot. They just find neighborhoods that had some medium to large trees and ask if they could tap them. Mm-hmm. I think they gave you a small amount of syrup in return, and then they would tap them, pull them off. And the interesting thing is they tap down so deep, unless you have contaminated soil or water, it's basically, and it's purified through the tree, It's considered pretty much organic, or you don't worry about your lawn pesticides and whatever else goes on there, and being close to a road and things in general, it pulls down deep. So they were actually doing urban maple syrup production.
Well, that sounds interesting. Well, it's another way to get more out of your.
And so many
plants
people
on
have
property.
overplanted maples in cities. It's a preferred tree for planting. So
along streets and stuff. Yeah. Another thing we did today was we actually got a new birdhouse. This was actually given to us by a new company called Emerging Green. So I actually have the link in the description of this video. They are giving 10% off of birdhouses through the end of June for anybody who's interested in them. It's really pretty nicely built and has, we just put it up outside of our chicken run because our birdhouse out there was starting to disintegrate, fall apart a bit. But it's pretty nicely built, has some torch sides, and the holes are a little bit on the larger side compared to the ones we had. The bluebirds would go in, and I think our holes on ours were probably about 1.5 inches, and these are probably closer to 2 inches.
Yeah, they're quite a bit bigger, but they might just pack it with material, and
they might still use it.
It does seem a lot more accessible for something to crawl up and go after them.
Maybe, but I think other birds like bigger holes too, so it depends on what type of bird. So we are doing a little video on that, but I figured I'd give you guys.
That hole's so big you could stick those chickens in it.
No, it's perspective. Come on, those chickens are way back there.
I think that birdhouse is only about 8 inches tall.
Yeah.
And maybe 6 inches across. It's
by
definitely on a
6.
medium to small size.
Yeah, 6 by 6 by maybe 8 inches tall. And it has a little roosting spot out front. Oh, and it does have a quick release for the front, so you could clean it out, which you're supposed to do between broods for whenever anything tries to nest in it. It is a big hole. It's about 2 inches. It's about a 1/2 inch bigger than the hole that we had on our last one. But yeah, so there are some birds that like bigger holes, some birds that like smaller holes. So I'm not sure if our bluebirds will go back to this. We do also have another similar style to what we had before that we could put up in another place. Plus,
the other problem is once the chickens go out, the cat has possibly caught. He caught a couple of bluebirds last year, and we're afraid some might have been from there because they shoot between a couple a locust and a couple of oaks, and they catch bugs in between there in the fence. But we did roll some wire fencing up around there to try and keep the cat a little further away.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll have to protect him again once. Right now, it's within the electric netting outside of the chicken run, so it's fairly protected from the cat at least. But yeah, so different animals do like. I read that wrens like the bigger hole, and some of the finches like house finches, I believe, like the bigger hole. So we might actually get a different species in there.
What about the black crows that show up every day?
I think they're a bit too big for that hole or that whole box.
We have 3 to 4 crows that have pretty much spent the winter.
Yeah.
They're not causing any problems. So.
Yeah, they have eaten chickens before, but they're getting enough chicken feed to not eat chickens, I think. You were going to say cat can reach it. Yes. A lot of these boxes you actually hang about 4 to 6 feet up. And so this one we are going to have to protect because our last one, the bluebirds would land outside, and the cat, I think, just sat underneath the house.
Yeah.
And probably just jumped up and caught it because, it was only a few feet up, really.
Well, bluebirds like to zoom around at lower levels because they catch bugs all morning and all evening.
Which is one of the reasons why we like to have birdhouses on our property, is because between them and the bats, they collect a lot of mosquitoes and other bugs. So yeah, we can actually put the other house that we have maybe over in the garden itself, so to attract them there. Bluebirds, I know, and probably other birds too, like to have a choice of between a bunch of houses. They won't have any others live near them, but they might check out a few of the local houses before they pick one. But for some reason, our local bluebirds love the house at this location.
They would do 2 or 3
broods a year.
birds, yeah.
Yeah.
We got quite a few out of there.
Yeah.
Until the cats started interrupting them.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that the children will come back and nest again. But yeah, Lisa's getting her first chickens this April. That's awesome. That's exciting. We gotta set up to our timing for our meat birds, and we will be hatching our first chicks this spring, probably in April, because we now have an incubator, so we can hatch our own chicks. We've always had broody chickens hatch chicks previously, so this will be a first for us on that end. ASL has many crows. It helped with the hawk issue. Yeah, they do chase hawks away.
We get hawks here. We haven't had many issues with our chickens, but we definitely see them.
Oh, we've been threatened by them in the past.
We've had.
In the past.
I guess last summer one kept setting up on the playset.
Yes, and the geese are definitely help in that respect. I do believe we lost some chickens to hawks prior to having the geese, but the hawks do seem to wait until, especially the Cooper's hawks, seem to wait until the geese aren't looking or they go in, and then they try to attack. But if the chickens know they're there, then they'll go hiding. They just need a place where they could get cover. Bella, you trying to eat your apple? We have an apple for her.
Did you just have an apple for dinner?
She did have an apple for dinner. She wanted another one. I think it helps the teething.
Yeah, she's been chewing on bread crust and apples, and a couple of weeks ago she was just carrying them around for a couple days. Yeah. Kind of gnawing on them, but not really eating them, and so we just let her carry them around.
Yeah. Well, right now she's
the heavy sourdough bread crust, which she can't, she can eat the middle.
Yeah.
But she gnaws on the crust, so.
Yeah, she does. Speaking of Bella and food, she's been trying a bunch of food. Oh, she's had Middle Eastern food before, but she loves stuffed grape leaves.
Green Gables is stuffing in.
Hello, Green Gables. But stuffed grape leaves and falafels are a couple
guineas
of
are tough. Yeah, your guineas ganged up on a hawk. Yeah, I think they're some of the toughest yard birds. So we've never had them. Somebody was just asking me about them this week, if we ever had them, or
no,
because they were concerned about the tick population.
Yeah.
Although they're not going to take enough ticks out that it's going to make that big of a difference.
I don't know. I mean, and they wander a lot, so
they wander and they make funny noises and they nest all over, and they're
not a big fan of them.
They're nuts.
Yeah.
Well, we've never had them. They're actually, if you have space, they'd be all over our neighbors. And they like the woods. They'd be in our neighbors' woods. We'd never know where they were. The coyotes would, as long as they get up in the trees, the coyotes would be trying to find them. We do have coyotes and foxes that might be an issue with those guys. So, yeah, that's a whole other thing. But they are weird birds. Yeah. Another thing, our daughter tried from the local Lebanese shop. This is, I think, lentil soup from there. Yeah, yellow lentil. Thin yellow lentil soup, just classic. That was really good. Soup. And of course, pasta Bella has to have. I don't know if Shawarma King is Lebanese. I think they are. Are they? Okay. I could be wrong. I don't know where they're from, but they're definitely Middle Eastern. Middle Eastern. They do a good job. They have a great reputation around town. Almost everybody goes to them in the area. Yeah. So. But she also loves her pasta with her red sauce or whatever sauce. She just loves sucking sauce off of pasta, for that matter. But this is a messy girl. We've trained her guineas to go in. Really, I've heard everybody had problems that could never get them to go in. I've heard some people have been able to, but others have trouble with it. So with our forest line, I bet they'd always want to be in the forest. Yeah, that would be a problem. They'd be in the neighbor's yard every day. Yeah. And if you have questions for Mike, cooking questions or whatnot, you could go ahead and throw some of those out there. Some other fun meals we had over the last few weeks. This one, you want to explain? Well, it's like I don't know if it's Chinese or Vietnamese. It's an Asian curry broth. I had some boned out pieces of chicken, which is pretty rare because we usually just have whole chickens. I think I was working on some demo stuff and I had a bag full of pieces and they were kind of skinless. So I threw them in. They're half frozen, so I threw them in a crock pot, and I was hoping to kind of just get them to cook down so I could finish into like a stir fry and pull the meat. But of course, whenever you put in a crock pot, it gives off so much liquid. You need a little to start, but it gives off so much liquid that it's pretty brothy. So I'd put a little bit of like Jamaican curry and salt and pepper and garlic and onion or something, and I put a little 5-spice in just to make it not into Jamaican curry chicken. And so it had enough broth in the end. And I put a little mushroom soy, rice wine vinegar, and sherry vinegar, and I think that was it. So it ended up making a very nice broth. So instead of doing a stir fry, I made it as basically a curry broth and steamed chicken, and then we had the rice put down on the side, and then I had some stir-fried bok choy, mostly bok choy. There's a little carrot and celery and whatever. That had some sesame oil on it.
That was good.
We kind of made it into a brothy bowl. When I looked at it and it was nearly done, I realized it was perfectly set up, and I needed to change directions and not do some type of stir fry.
Uh-oh.
How's the best way to cook swordfish? Probably grilled. Swordfish steaks. They're very meaty and lean, and so they grill nicely. They should probably be cooked from the medium to cook through, but don't cook them so much they dry out. Swordfish can have worms in them. If they're frozen, don't worry about it. And good quality swordfish has limited worms. So, and if you happen to see like a gray or a black or whatever, and you can get a tweezer and just pull it out, it's not going to hurt anything. It's just protein. It's kind of gross. But good quality should have limited to none. So I think grilling, you can lightly marinate. Fish can be marinated in a lemon juice or Italian dressing or whatever you like, in oil and stuff. I wouldn't do it more than 20 or 30 minutes. Fish dries out really quick. And you can also pan sear it. If it's a really, really big chunk, you can oven roast it, but I wouldn't recommend that on your usual portion. And it's it's meaty, high protein, mild flavor. If swordfish gets old, it's one of the fish that does not have a bladder, and it basically fills its muscle with urea.
Ooh.
And so you get a pissy smell, almost like mussels when they go bad. And it's got a very urine-y smell. That's when you know it went bad. Good swordfish doesn't do that. And then you can, a lot of people do, salsas, blackened. But yeah, pan, sear, or grill, and it comes out great.
How do you cook the corned beef part of sauce? SOS.
SOS. I'm not sure which SOS you're referring to, but corned beef is best boiled, simmered. Crock pot. You can put it in a steamer, or you can put it in an Instant Pot or under pressure or something. But if you're just putting it in a pot, about 3 hours until it's tender and yielding to a fork, but not completely shredding apart. And you can, and I like to put some carrots and onions and celery or garlic in there to flavor up the water. Usually it comes with a packet if you want to do the corning packet, or you can put some pickling or mustard seeds and bay leaf and whatever else, but it usually comes with that little packet. And it comes out great. So cream chip. All right, that's what I was wondering if you were. I haven't really done that with corned beef. That makes sense, but I've always done it with more like air dried beef. So just cook the corned beef as you would, and then slice it and serve it for for a meal. For hot corned beef, or boiled corned beef with boiled vegetables, or make Reubens, and then the remainder, or the edges that have overcooked and started to shred apart, that's what you can put into corned beef hash or creamed beef type of thing, and use that typically as the second day as a leftover.
Like cream dried beef on toast.
Yeah.
Didn't hear the other term until it was all. Okay.
Yeah, well, I know that's a military term. I just have never had it with corned beef. Actually, I haven't had it in a long time. But yeah, so
that's SOS. Do you see that?
No, I know that.
Okay.
Hadn't put it. I was wondering about that. I just hadn't put it to corned beef before.
Yeah.
It was always dried beef, but very similar. So you could, and as far as the cream sauce, it's just a bechamel. It's just a cream bechamel, like same as you would do for a sausage gravy or whatever else. But yeah, so that's it. But corned beef is great. I love making corned beef. You can actually make your own corned beef. So if you get a decent buy on brisket, on whole or portion brisket, you have enough cool area, you can submerge the beef in a brine solution, a pickling. It's actually pickled, and you can pickle. It takes about 1 week, roughly 1 week, and then you have homemade corned beef. You can play with your spices a little bit if you want, and then you still go through having to boil it. Difference between pastrami and corned beef, slightly different cuts sometimes. Sometimes they use sort of the belly muscles, but you can use a brisket for pastrami. But pastrami is usually brined, not pickled. It's got a rub that has a whole variety of things, black pepper, coriander, and whatever, and it's pressed onto the outside and caked on the outside, and then it's actually slow smoked. And after it's slow smoked, you still may steam it or boil it to tenderize it and get it hot. But yeah, so they're similar but slightly different between pastrami and corned beef.
That one's Dada's. I'll switch with you.
We had. She was talking to a local place that's making some corned beef. I sent them a bunch of. It's a bakery. They're playing around. I sent them a few recipes that I've worked with that I like, and said, whatever it's worth, if you like them. They were, they're playing with some salt levels, and I like to work salt and percentage on those things. So probably 1.5% salt, unless you're doing a heavy boil, and then you're probably 2% salt on that. So yeah, making corned beef is a good deal. Or just buying it, or buying it when it's on sale. The weird thing about, so most of modern corned beef, they don't go through much of a brine and set it up. They actually take all the spices and salt, and they put in papaya, or papain, which is an enzyme that breaks down meat. It's a natural meat tenderizer, and sugars and preservatives, and a tinted curing mixture, TCM, which makes it pink and safer. And they throw that all in a bag, and they cryovac the bag, and then they ship it out, refrigerated. And by the time it gets to the store and you buy it, and because of the action of the papain, it's tenderized. But if you open the bag, it's all kind of like slimy because of the starches and the papain that are in the commercial brines. Yeah, you could use ground beef or ground sausage in the cream sauce. I mean, it's just a basic cream gravy, and put it over whatever you got. A couple day old bread or baked potatoes or whatever you got.
Cream turkey and peas on toast for supper. Yeah.
I mean, they're all pretty good. I don't mind them. They're not fancy, but they're not. If you have good ingredients and you season them up right, it's
comfort food. Yeah,
it's comfort food. Good winter, cold weather food. Nothing wrong with it at all. And it's a great way to use the leftovers, especially when when you've got a little bit of something that's all the little bits and pieces. Welsh rarebit. Yeah, Welsh rarebit is Velveeta, really. Okay. So Welsh rarebit is a great one. And it's actually not rabbit, it's rarebit. So the joke is, when you didn't get a rabbit, you have to eat the rarebit. It is bread, and then it's basically similar to a fondue. And so it has melted, it can be like a bechamel, but you add in cheese, frequently Swiss cheese, or a Swiss style like an Emmenthal. And then it has frequently wine or and mustard. You're right, like a strong mustard, a Dijon, or a Dusseldorf, or a strong mustard or mustard powder, and wine. And sometimes it has a splash of brandy or a splash of kirsch or something in it. It doesn't have to. And then so you make this sauce, thick sauce, and you put that over toast, and sometimes put a little more cheese on it, and you gratin it or put it under a toaster oven and brown it off. And so it is a thick, crusty bread that is made soggy with the white wine cheese sauce, and you have to eat it with a knife and fork. And yeah, it's actually we would serve them occasionally at one of the country clubs. We do Welsh rarebit with a side of salad and as a lunch special. And we sold a few of them usually. I worked with an English chef, couple English chefs, so that's a actually done right. You can look up all kinds of recipes and play with it. But a good Welsh rarebit is great, and you can use your bits and pieces of cheese that are left over if you have finer quality cheeses that haven't gone moldy. If you could mix them or blend them or do whatever, don't if you want to. I don't know if goat cheese doesn't melt that well, but if you wanted to use blue cheese or cheddar or whatever, it would be fine. So.
And we did have a video out this last few weeks. We had actually technically two copies of the same. Two copies of the same video that we put on two different. Somebody wants my water. Two different YouTube channels. So that is a little bit of new news that we started a West Michigan Pasta and Provisions YouTube channel. It only has one video on it so far, but it will be doing a lot of pasta recipes or like sauces and things to with the pastas and such. So yeah, you guys should check that out. I did put the YouTube page, the YouTube channel in the link in the description below. I'm glowing tonight, maybe because it's warm in here. But that was the news. We have a new YouTube channel, not other types of news, guys. I was just trying to see if we missed something there. Yeah. Thanks, though.
I think if your light turned up extra bright.
It is a little bright today. Plus, my hair's down, and yeah, I usually have my hair up and like a hat on or something.
All of us took showers late in the afternoon, right?
We did.
Or shortly before because
we were working outside.
Or standing over the silly fire and whatever. So
yeah, although fire smell good.
No, it is. We've been burning hard, probably 100-plus-year-old sugar maple or silver maple, not sure which, from a friend's house.
Mm-hmm.
We got a bunch of their bits and pieces that they had chopped up. I just had to pick them up. So it's actually really nice. It was rotting and they had to take the tree down, but really nice maple. And then we have some of our black locust. So we're burning that, trying to get the sap reduced.
Oh.
And we're running, I guess, the same blend, different things, mostly locust, but a little bit of maple in the fireplace behind us tonight.
Yeah. The locust burns hotter, though.
Yeah, it burns a little slower, a little hotter.
So, yeah. So I did want to point that out because that video was Lobster Fra Diavolo.
From around Valentine's.
We recorded it on Valentine's weekend. So, actually, the day before we did our last live show, but we released it a couple weeks later because that's my timing on editing videos at this point, and we do have a few other videos I need to work on. But
yeah, so if you want to make a slightly spicy to very spicy tomato sauce based in seafood, you can do that, and shrimp or scallops or whatever you'd like to put in there, a blend of things is fine. You don't have to use lobster. I actually like some of the other things in there just as much or better than lobster. We missed a question from Lisa.
How did you become interested in becoming a chef?
I always kind of cooked when my mom cooked.
Yeah.
She was home and doing things with us until I was, I guess, out of high school. So she was cooking, meals for us and other family members. So I would hang out with them and learned a lot of that just naturally. So I always had an interest in cooking, and then I did quite a bit in science and medicine and some laboratory work, which is its own little form of cutting and chopping and cooking. So
it does overlap.
Yeah. So I have kind of the combination training, which I do use to try and problem solve and do things better. So I've kind of been cooking my whole life, but it made sense to make some money doing it.
Yeah.
But I did start, I guess I transitioned from working in a lab to working in a restaurant part-time, full-time, and then going to culinary school when I was about 25.
Yeah.
So yeah, been cooking for quite a while.
Yeah, I remember when he called me, we were dating, and he asked me, "What do you think if I go to culinary school instead of medical school?" I was like, "Well, that's good because I like to eat and I can't cook, so fine with me." Thank you, Tina, for pulling that. That's the link to the other channel. Well, there's only the one video up
We
on
have
that
some other
channel so
videos
far.
you got to put there, right?
Yeah, I have
stuff
to.
from the website.
Yeah, I have to transfer some of other to it. It was basically videos that are on part-time permies from the past, but we've done versions for the pasta.
We got our Michigan duck egg pasta back
Yes.
about 3 weeks ago. And then we sold most of that, and we made more duck egg pasta on Thursday. So we're going to pack that, some of it tomorrow, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then we are making more duck egg pasta probably tomorrow because we only got about half the eggs done. So we're starting to bulk that up. Yeah.
Friday Cake Club at St. Jude. They were amazed by your skill.
I made croissants, or Danish or croissants. I think it was croissants one day because Cake Club we'd rotate around. Yeah, I think I did panettone one time, and I did croissants, which croissants are, I guess, a little bit hard. They're not terribly hard, but you have to take the time to go through all the steps. So yeah,
lots of layers. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Yeah. So on that end, and you would make stuff for me for bringing into work whenever I brought stuff in.
Yeah, well, I always cook because when I had an apartment in Memphis, I was cooking for myself, and so I was always doing different things, and I had a job that was more like 40, 45 hours a week type of thing, not a it wasn't as intense as most other jobs because I was a technician and not so yeah, it was what do you got? Is something in your mouth?
She was eating bread.
Oh. Yeah, so I was always cooking for myself and playing around with different things, and yeah.
Thank you. You don't want any more? No.
Having fun. Yeah, I know the problem with geese and ducks are they lay all over the place. A couple of the farms, what they do is they try not to let their ducks out until mid-morning from their pen, from where they're penned up, and let them go out and forage later, and hope that most of them drop their eggs before they get out. So I heard that was one trick. Since we have 2 boy geese, they don't lay.
Yeah, no, they don't. We got them specifically to be guards, and I didn't want them guarding a nest, so we just kept the boys. We had 3.
One was probably a female.
Yeah, it was a little smaller than the other 2 when we decided to take her out. She was holiday dinner. In fact, we have a whole video series on that holiday dinner as well. Well, thank you, Bella.
What else? We made venison sausage this month. Or was that last? That was this month, right?
I don't remember. Yeah, it was this month, I think.
We made 3 types of venison sausage, and then we later made some venison head cheese. And then we made some sweetbreads on Thursday. Veal,
that was
good. Beef sweetbreads. Little side project. One of the guys I work with had never really made it much.
And we had venison tonight.
Yeah, I made some paprikash, or venison with onions and paprika, and put some potatoes in there. Yeah, started it off in saute and threw it in the crock pot to finish.
Got you.
Yep.
So we should do a giveaway, and the giveaway this month is going to either be
children's books.
No, not children's books.
Blocks and toys with.
No, it's either going to be another one of those bird houses, if you want one of those bird houses, or you can have pasta. One or the other. In 2 bags of pasta or a birdhouse.
We still have a little bit of einkorn pasta left.
And duck egg pasta now?
Whole grain and einkorn and duck egg. I think that's what I sent out last month.
To Tina last month.
To Tina. She said pick whatever, and she's had a bunch of our stuff.
Yeah.
So I sent her one of each of those because I knew they were different.
She wants to read the book. She doesn't want you reading the book. But yeah, so the question this month, and it'll be it's open to everybody who's here, whether you've won in the last couple months or not, because there's really only 12 people in the room. So, and I know your mom won't answer the question. So that means 1 in 11 chance to win.
Yeah, Tina's kind of out for the moment because she's...
He will not enter today.
That's quite fair.
Yeah, that's fine. Voluntary poll. So 1 in 10 chance for you to win. And it's based off of the first person who answers the question correctly in our chat on our end. I know that there can sometimes be slight differences between different people looking at the chats. But the question is, how much maple sap did we get in our first week of collecting maple sap?
That's a little hard because we didn't talk about it.
We did talk about it earlier.
Did, but not for very long.
But I specifically asked you.
Excess deer, we're excess deer from where?
How many gallons?
Yeah. Excess deer, are they from, forget what area, I know they're brought into Texas. I've actually had them before. I'm surprised because the deer around here die of starvation if there's too
from Africa.
That's what I was thinking too. Too hard of a winter, but it's feed related, not cold. So we don't have a problem with deer dying, even in cold weather.
14 gallons, not quite.
That's close, but not quite.
Yeah. Throw out some numbers, guys. 17 is close.
That's also close.
That's very close. Green Gables, throw out a number.
How many gallons of maple sap did we collect this week? There we go.
There we go. Noah's Ark, 18 gallons. 18 gallons is correct. So Noah's Ark, you get your choice of either that birdhouse that we showed you or the pasta. So
and
I'll
of course,
go back.
The ratio, we didn't really talk about the reduction ratio. Standard is about 35, 40 gallons to 1 gallon of syrup, finished syrup.
That's the birdhouse, by the way. Okay, sorry. Wiggle worm.
So it really depends a little bit on your sap and how much you want to reduce it, although you reduce it down so almost basically all the water's out.
So that was Noah's Ark was the first person who got it up there at 9:46 timestamp on my end. So if 40 is what we'd like to get.
Yeah, last time when we did it 3 years ago, we got a gallon finish, but then we also burned some. I think we had more like 50 or 60, but we had a pretty good run on it.
Yeah, we did. We had some maple sugar from some.
What do you do with 18 gallons? You start with 18 gallons of sap.
Yes.
But 18 gallons of sap will only produce probably just under half a gallon of finished syrup. So
the birdhouse. They want the birdhouse. Okay.
So actually 18 gallons is no big deal. The problem is trying to get it reduced down to syrup and get it boiled down, but it doesn't produce that much. So we'd like to shoot for 40 to 60 gallons. That will more than cover us for the year. A gallon of syrup. I have seen high quality, quote, organic maple syrup being wholesaled to restaurants at about $90 a gallon, $80 to $90 a gallon. So there's a pretty good value on that.
Yeah. Well, it's a bit of work to do that, to collect that much sap, and then, 10 trees.
India, excess deer from India. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully they got some of them to a processor, but I guess if everybody was having problems with cold and power and water, it's kind of hard to get them processed.
Okay, Noah's Ark, you're going to have to send me, I know you've probably won before, but send me where to send the birdhouse. Just email it to me at parttimepermies@gmail.com or send me a Facebook message or whatnot. Either way works just fine.
Our chickens were running around in the -6, by the way. They were totally, everybody was fine.
Yeah. No heat in the coops or anything. They did just fine. I'm just making note to send the birdhouse.
My guess is that people have eaten sap off of trees, collected pine sap for a variety of things.
Yeah.
The maple and seen the animals eating it and have tried parts of dried sap. We have a split in one of our trees, a natural split that's leaking syrup, leaking
sap like crazy
all over. So I'm guessing that bits of that crystallized people ate and tried it, and then they figured they could assist in the process.
Yeah. Yeah. I do know people...
Oh, they were burned.
Oh, geez.
Oh.
Found too late to save the meat. You know, they were found too late to save it, so they
Yeah.
burned them.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. That's too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, they weren't used to our cold weather, which Texas doesn't get too often, but we definitely do up here. What is the Axis deer? No, they're not the deer that they brought in for the chef.
I think they may have for that dinner.
Was that what it was?
We had fillets from some specialty deer, actually from a ranch in Texas a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Those may have been. Yeah, are they extra big or extra small? I'm looking up the picture to remember what they are.
It's good images.
Yeah, I think they may have been Axis deer.
Okay.
That are raised on a private reserve ranch and were sent in, but we only got the fillets, which, of course, are only a portion of.
Oh. Finding our live show again. There we go.
Which are was only a small portion of the deer, so I think they were running at like $60 or $80 a pound coming in from the specialty guy. I didn't prepare them; it was another restaurant that had gotten their hands on them. They were good. I didn't think they were. There's other parts. The spotted deer. Yep.
Yeah.
We just looked them up. Yep.
So, yeah, that was at what was that dinner called?
That's the All-Star Chef's dinner.
All-Star Chefs. Yeah.
Which is discontinued because those guys decided to retire and they're trying to sell their building. They shut the restaurant down.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was a good restaurant in town.
Yep.
Yeah, but
you didn't want to give away a can of bear spray?
No. Well, our vacation, by the way, guys, we're going up to the Upper Peninsula.
For a few days, we're going to be up in.
Yep.
Get to go up to the Upper Peninsula. We bought some bear spray just because it's starting into thaw and hungry bears and bear cubs
spring
coming
bears,
out, whatever. So
yeah, spring bears.
Don't really have a bear problem in the Lower Peninsula or bear issue at all. There might be bears, but not real. There's some talk that there might be a few back in the Lower Peninsula.
In the upper part of the Lower
Peninsula, there are definitely
bears.
The
upper part of the Lower Peninsula, there might be some. But Upper Peninsula, definitely.
I had to they asked for my age. It's a semi-controlled substance to get a can of bear spray. It was also very expensive. It was like $30 for a can of pepper spray.
Basically, yeah. Big can.
Comes with a little side holster so you can wear it on your belt. As the guy pointed out, he carries that one because what good is it when it's in your backpack?
Right.
So I guess you can discharge it from your side holster if required.
Oh, those bears are chickens?
I don't know. We're hoping not to deal with them either way.
So. Right. But we're going to be in the middle of a national forest up there, so there's possibility to run into bears.
Yeah, we've got a cabin that's just over the edge of one of the national forest areas, so it's semi-remote and lots of open areas. So.
Yes. So we are looking into things we're going to do. There's a place nearby. We have to see if, I don't know if Bella's even old enough to do it at all, but there's a place that does dog sledding. That would be fun. They've done the Iditarod before. So they raised huskies.
We've been dog sledding before.
Yeah, we have.
But you could probably put her in the sled.
That's what I was thinking.
The only problem is you have the possibility of flipping the sled or running the sled into a tree.
That would not be good. Yeah. But, I mean, I'm guessing they have some easier trails or whatnot. But, yeah. So, we'll see. They did say on their webpage, they say it's for all ages. So, we'll have to see about that. But, illegal to kill bears in Texas.
Yeah, Michigan doesn't have a bear hunt. New Jersey, when we lived in New York, New Jersey had some bear hunts that were taking a lot of flack and controversy, although the bear population had gone up a lot, and they really felt like they needed to bring the bear population down. I do know somebody who killed a bear out of season. He was bow hunting, and I believe he killed it with his bow.
Jeez.
Although he might have pulled a sidearm. It's one or the other. But he was deer hunting, and it was out of the bear season, and he obviously didn't have a permit for a bear anyways. and he killed a bear, which he claimed was within 20 or 30 feet, clearly within a quick striking range. Took the bear down, and he decided, he actually told the DNR, which actually got him in as much or more trouble than not. He had to go to court, and it was a really, really big mess. He also happened to be partial Native American, so he probably had some abilities for some more open kill or out of season kill, but it wasn't a reservation. But yeah, he's like, well, what do? You took it down, and he claimed it was life threatening, but he ended up with all kinds of fines and multiple court cases, and they were not nice about it at all. So that was it, and he didn't keep it or anything.
Noah's Ark's uncle used to hunt bear up in the UP. Felony to kill a bear, period, in Texas. Yeah. Leave Bella with Grandma. No bear nuggets. No, we're also bringing our bear hound.
Yeah, I don't think she'll do any good.
Did you know that Great Danes in Britain and Europe were trained as bear and boar hounds, and in Great Britain they call them boar hounds, but they're bear and boar hounds. So we're going to bring our bear hound with us, but I have a feeling they usually act in teams for that, not alone.
The interesting thing, I had a friend who had a bunch of bear meat. I think I've had bear jerky before, but I don't know, years ago when jerky all tastes the same. But he said he loved it and made bear jerky and bear meat stew. And said it was really tender and it was phenomenal. But then I'd always heard it was greasy, it was strong, it was terrible, it's full of parasites and worms. I guess a lot of it depends on if it's a heavy trash eater. But he said that bears ate great, and I don't know. I've not had. I'm not really excited. I'm kind of. I like wild standard game, but I don't have a need to kill other things like that just to eat them.
Isn't bear grease supposed to keep the mosquitoes away too?
Yeah.
Really stinky. Yeah. So.
I don't think we've watched her.
Girl in the Woods?
Yeah,
no, we might have to check it out. Yeah. I haven't watched a whole lot. There's actually a few channels that Bella likes watching because her favorite animals are pigs, geese, and dogs. So if anybody has pigs, geese, or dogs, or all three, she's very happy to watch them because she loves watching those animals. So we've been watching a little bit.
Art and Bree were moving geese around.
Art and Bree, and she likes Cog Hill Farm and Gold Shaw Farm, and of course Tell Us One, which we've watched every single one of theirs, and they actually release every couple weeks, so we've about caught up with their releases at this point. Bear sightings are rare in Texas, but slowly increasing. Yeah, I had friends who used to have, because I used to work in New Jersey and live in New York, and one of my colleagues I worked with has a house that's somewhat rural New Jersey, and they definitely had to lock up their garbage and really make sure it was all secure.
The state forest that we would go to right across the border and go hiking was full of low bush wild blueberries.
Oh yeah,
and there were definitely bears in that area. They would tell people that.
Yeah.
And the bears would go in and just eat blueberries and whatever.
Get drunk on blueberries. Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't usually have a problem or any attacks, but they did say that there are bears, here, so don't bother them. And
yeah.
So.
Yeah, Cog Hill Farm and that emu. The emu's funny, and the emu loves to go running and racing, and all their geese. The sound of geese just attracts Bella to their videos. So as soon as she hears them, she loves our geese here. Art and Bree are talking about having a problem goose who is attacking them and kind of attack their 5-year-old a little bit. So whether or not they're going to keep that goose or eat that goose is going to be the question on that one.
That's the option, right?
They have other geese as well, but that is their chicken guard, I guess. We haven't had problems with ours
Seems like
at all.
Some stamping and neck grabbing, they could settle it down, but
Yeah, I think you'd have to do that as it's growing up too, to kind of tell it. Like, I would not leave Bella in with our chickens and geese
No.
without my being right there. But she was technically hanging out in there in the last couple days because it warmed up, and she's gotten better balance and able to walk around a bit. And she loves hanging out with the chickens and geese and watching them. She did not want to come in. Well, hi, Helix. Cattail. The emus are kind of funny. They hand raised that one, so I'm guessing they're not always quite that tame.
They just
at Cog Hills.
They just did a thing on eggs, not on chef steps.
Yeah, emu eggs.
And they got an emu egg, which they only lay like 1 egg a year, I think it is, or 1 or 2 eggs a year.
Wow.
They bought an emu egg, and it's like dark green emerald. And I forget if they paid $30 or $300. They said they only had one, and they only had one shot.
Yeah.
They're rare. I'm not sure if it was probably $30, but it was probably due to the rarity of getting it, not so much this site could have paid for it. So they had to go through this whole special cracking and shoot their video. And they're like, we only got one way to do it. So they made a whole meal for like 6 people or 8 people that was centered around this one egg.
So, Tina, it's funny because last time we were at the Rhodes, I had just found out I was pregnant with Bella, and Bree had her, I think their youngest was like 6 months old or something at that time, maybe. So getting on the bigger side, but not running around yet, basically, is what I remember. And then we have Bella, and then very soon after we find out about the Hollers. They're pregnant, and then they have their baby, and then Justin and Rebecca, and now Bree, and it's basically every homesteading group that was at that workshop have now gotten pregnant and or had babies. So yeah, that was back to back between those groups.
Yes, yeah. The shells are extremely thick. The bigger eggs are thicker. Obviously, they have to be strong enough to hold the egg, but also for predators that collapsing the egg and getting in there. But they were going through and using a knife crack method. But yes, they are quite the shell.
Yeah. If you don't move, the cat won't scratch you.
He's not scratching.
No, but he's getting nervous. The cat's on his lap.
He's a cat. That's what.
The cats aren't always nervous. This cat is not very well balanced, though. He falls off of things when he's sleeping. No, it's not. Tina says it's our turn. No, we already had ours. We already had ours since being down there, and we're pretty busy.
We haven't really been down there yet since then.
No, we haven't.
We haven't been to the Rhodes. We've
had our baby since we have been to the Holler since then, but we've had our baby since being to the Rhodes, and every single one of the women homesteaders that was there at the Rhodes has had a baby or about to have a baby since then. So yeah, but something in the water. Yep. But that is over a 2-year period at this point, just about. Yeah, pretty much 2 years. Anyway, it's 10 o'clock. Do we have any other last minute questions or announcements? And the guy said that he won't let his wife drink the water when they visit the Rhodes. Yeah, Bella needs a buddy. Well, Bella has some cousins, so she has some buddies there. Yeah, but
one of our friends just acquired a 6-year-old.
Acquired a 6-year-old, foster to adoption, hopefully. So yes, and she's come over with her, and we have a next door neighbor who has a couple young kids, and the neighbor on the other side of them has.
All the houses have flipped in our neighborhood since we moved in 6.5 years ago. They've all flipped at least once.
And one's about to flip
a second. And
they all
everybody has kids of some age now, of younger kids, which before there were few. The house across the street, somebody moved in about 3 years ago, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
And they just put their house up on the market a week ago, and it was pending by Wednesday or Thursday. No surprise around here, they're going in 1 day, 2 days. People are putting 10,000 extra on top of offering prices and all kinds of other stuff. I don't know what their deal is, but I haven't seen. I saw them right before they put it on the market. They happened to mention they were going to, and I said, "Oh, it should sell really fast," and so it seems like it is.
Okay. Yeah, they are going real fast around here.
Yeah, they're building houses down the road from us, quite a few. They've raised the price on them a lot since they started 2 years ago. But the house across the street from us is a nice starter home or retiring
Is it 2
home.
bedroom or 1 bedroom?
2 bedroom, one bath. It's not big at all.
Yeah.
It's got a very nice large pole barn.
It does, and it has a chicken
And it's
coop.
got almost 2 acres, so it's very expandable, and it's been renovated. It's nice, so
Yeah.
So it's a great option property.
Are they taking their chickens with them? Or they
Yeah,
sell the
because they
chickens?
told me they have an extra large
chicken
coop with a automated or
door on it.
and
nice.
they have a garden that I think's about as big as our garden.
Cool.
It's quite an upgrade.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think they got 3 bedrooms and like 4 baths. So big.
That's a big upgrade.
Big
for them.
change for
Yeah, that's good.
But they did a lot of work on the house. He's a contractor, so he works for a contractor, so he did a lot of work on it. So it's probably
it is
probably in good
crazy.
shape for whoever's going there next.
I think especially when you get out into the countries, there's actually a lot of people moving out of cities into the country at the moment too.
Yeah.
So, but we should wrap up because it's after 10. I have to work tomorrow. You have to work tomorrow, and others I'm sure do as well.
Yep, I got a new employee tomorrow.
And
get them
oriented.
going and stuff. So.
And I have somebody who fell asleep on my lap. So we will say good night. Noah's Ark, just tell me where to send the birdhouse. And otherwise, we will see you guys first Sunday of next month in April. So have a good night. Be on the lookout for some videos this month. There's about 2 or 3 that'll probably make it out there. But we'll see you next time. Take care.